10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and I'm happy to be with you. Actually, I'm sad today. As you may have noticed from the title of this podcast, I got it wrong, and I am sorry for that. And I want to explain exactly what that means. As anyone who's looked at the media recently knows, there is a rush to get the headline, to get the story out, to make the point, especially in political commentary, to be able to make the point. And there's a rush to that, to be the first one to do that. And that's part of what happened. That's part of what I did. And I am sorry for that. But I want to be completely clear on this, because very often you'll see when the media does that, they'll hide the story. They'll print the retraction in the back pages. They'll delete the item from the internet so no one could ever see it, and assume as if it never happened, that they never got it wrong. And they'll just walk past it and forget about it and keep going. And I don't believe in that. I berated many people for doing that. And they deserve it. And I deserve it as well. Because I got it wrong. And let me explain. Because on March 8th, I put out a podcast, which the title was Congressional Plagiarism. And in that article, I was talking about a phenomenon we see a lot. And it's been happening for decades. It happens to Republicans. It happens to Democrats, where a bill will come out and someone else will copy that bill, essentially. You see that currently. The example would be the no work, no pay bills. So if the government is shut down, or if the government is in a no budget, then Congress members are saying they should not get paid. And there's about 10 different versions of those bills existing right now. And they're essentially all the same bill. The differences between them are so minor as to be non-existent. And we see this in a lot of different bills. The differences are usually very non-existent, and it's just the same bill over and over again. And that's what I called congressional plagiarism. And it's a serious and real issue. And it deserves to be highlighted. It's something that the media really doesn't talk about. And I wanted to talk about that issue. And on March 8th, just before then, Anthony Brindisi, my congressman, Representative Anthony Brindisi of the 22nd District of New York, came out and put out his first bill, H.R. 1555. And that bill was to deal with cable companies and fine, and if they have a fine, and how they would report and give transparency to constituents and make them accountable for the increase in fees that we've seen in many places, and in particular in the New York 22nd District. Now, that bill has not come out on congress.gov. And I just checked it just before I did this podcast, and I can tell you it's not there. So there is no text of the bill. And I heard Anthony Brindisi, Representative Anthony Brindisi, on the radio at a talk radio station, WUTQ, and he was speaking about this bill, and he described it and what it would do. And I heard that description, and I looked into the bill as best I could, although it is not published. And I looked for that bill, and I saw some other bills that I was aware of that were very similar. In particular, Representative Anna Eshoo out of California in the 14th District. She has a Transparent Fees Act that she put out on February 14th. Now, they deal with many of the same issues, and they have some similarities to them, but they are not the same bill. But based on the description given by Representative Brindisi and me reading the bill by Representative Eshoo, I jumped. I jumped too soon. I made a conclusion that doesn't exist. And I said that this was an example of the congressional plagiarism that I wanted to speak about. And I wanted to speak about it with my representative as a very clear example. And I'm sorry, because that's wrong. And I did a disservice to Representative Brindisi, to Representative Eshoo, to the constituents, including myself, my colleagues in the news media, in particular WUTQ, and to you, my listeners, because I didn't have all the facts. And I know that I've spent 12 years making sure that I do get the facts so that I can make the conversation and the commentary that I do in every format. But this time I didn't. This time I went for the headline. I rushed the story to get the story out. And that's wrong. And that is absolutely point blank wrong. As a member of the press, I know better and should be held to a higher standard. And I like to believe I hold myself to a high standard. And for 12 years, I've maintained that standard. But I didn't on March 8th. I failed. I failed you. I failed myself. And I apologize for that. I am sorry. I am deeply, truly sorry. And I look at you and I want you to know I am wrong. I did that wrong. I'm not burying the story. I'm giving it the same headline that I gave. I'm giving the apology the same headline that I gave to the story. I want people to see that I got it wrong, because that's the right thing to do. Because I should stand up, call it man up if you wish, stand up and say, I got it wrong. I did call the office of Representative Brindisi. I made sure that they were aware of the article that I wrote. Whether they did or did not doesn't matter. I made them aware of the article I wrote. I made them aware of the error that I made. And I made them aware that I apologize. And that I will go on air tomorrow on WUTQ. Depending on when you see this, it may have already happened. But on March 12th, I'm going on to WTQ to publicly apologize and admit that I was wrong. And I passed on my apology to Representative Brindisi personally because I was wrong. And that's the way it should be handled, not to be pushed off to the side or deleted as if it never happened. I have removed the article because it is wrong from every source on the internet because it should be removed. But I don't hide from the fact I got it wrong. I'm standing here before you to take the admonition, to take your comments and your statements, to let you know that I value it. And I do value my reputation. I do value my credibility. It's allowed me for 12 years to be able to speak to Democrats, to Republicans, to conservatives, to liberals, libertarians, and liberals, to speak to many people in many different backgrounds. And they did so because they know I check my facts. They may not agree with my conclusions, but I check my facts. And I quote people in whole, in context. And I don't do gotchas because I don't believe in that. That doesn't serve anyone. It's important to be able to get all the information and make whatever conclusion you can from it. Whether you agree with me or not, that's okay. Discussion is part of the process in America. That's why we have that freedom of speech. But it means we need to be informed, fully informed, with all the information, and not jump to a conclusion, not jump ahead of the story. And that is what the media does today. over and over again, all of us. Sometimes very little, sometimes a lot. It's the atmosphere we're in. That's not an excuse. I don't hold that as an excuse. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to give an excuse. I'm trying to explain that I'm wrong and that I am sorry. And we can do better. And I will do better. And I will redouble my efforts to make sure, double and triple checking myself to make sure that I continue to provide you with all the facts. That's why I include the sources in my podcast, why I include the links in my articles and in my videos to let you know, what am I talking about? Where did I find that information? That it is a credible source and that you can follow why I have the conclusions I have. Whether you agree with them or not is up to you, and that's okay. But to understand that other viewpoint, so that whether you agree with it or if you don't, to hear that other viewpoint, my viewpoint, that many of us may agree with or may not, and to say, okay, and now I have a better understanding of the issue, and maybe we can make a better bill, or we can elect a better person, or we can move the nation forward in a better way. That's the goal. That's the intent. That's what I believe political commentary is about, and I believe that's what I've tried to do. And I believe I've done that well for 12 years. But that doesn't matter because I got it wrong. On March 8th, I failed. And I apologize for that. I am deeply and truly and absolutely sorry that I got it wrong, that I jumped ahead of the story, that I didn't get all the facts. Because I have now seen the draft of H.R. 1555, and I've already read and I reread H.R. 1220 by Congresswoman Eshoo. And again, they are similar, but it's not congressional plagiarism. It's not the example of what issue I was trying to make. And so I got it wrong. And I do apologize for that. And I should apologize for that. And I will try to do better. And I do hope that you can join me in the future as I continue to go forward, redoubling my efforts to make sure that I provide you the facts, all the facts that I make my conclusions from, and that those facts are correct and clear and credible. That's what I've built a reputation for. That's what I've built my credibility on. And that's what I will rebuild them on. Because I understand I have to start from the beginning again. I have to rebuild that credibility with you, with my colleagues, with candidates and with elected officials, with myself. And I will do that. I will do that every day and strive to be better, to do better, because you deserve it. And I know I can do it. I've done it. And I just need to keep doing it. I knocked down my ego, took me down a peg, and that's good. I deserve that. Obviously, I needed that. And be reminded that I still have to do my homework and not presume anything. To be fair, whether I agree or disagree with anyone, and in this case, I agree with the bill. I agree with Congressman Anthony Brindisi's bill, H.R. 1555. I agree with Congresswoman Eshoo's bill, 1220. I think they will help the public. I think those are good bills. I support them. Even worse, that I got it wrong and may have damaged those bills in any way. And I apologize for that. Because that's not what I'm here for. That's not what the job is. And so I hope that I can get it right. No, I know I will strive to get it right. And I will work hard, redoubling my efforts to get it right. Because this matters to me a lot. This is important to me, critically. I want to make sure I get this right going forward. I haven't got it wrong for 12 years. I'm not looking to get it wrong again. And I hope you can understand that. And I hope you can accept the apology. You, the public, Anthony Brindisi, Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, my colleagues at WUTQ and in the news media. I hope you can understand. And I hope you can accept my apology, because I am sorry. But I wanted to make that clear. I wanted to let you know, and to let you know that I am going to redouble my efforts going forward to get it right. I thank you, and I hope to see you again at my next podcast. Thank you.